Have you ever caught yourself looking in the mirror and thinking, where did the time go? Maybe your body feels a little stiffer than it used to. Maybe your days feel a bit quieter. And maybe, just maybe, there's a little voice inside that wonders, what now? If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you're not alone. Aging can feel like uncharted territory, especially when the world around us often talks more about what we're losing than what we're gaining. But here's the truth. Life after 60 isn't the end of the story. It's an entirely new chapter. And with just a few gentle shifts in how we think, this chapter can be one of the healthiest, happiest, and most fulfilling yet. See, we often focus so much on physical health, what to eat, how much to move, which supplements to take, that we forget the foundation behind it all. Our mindset, the way we think, shapes the way we live. And by making a few simple adjustments in how we view ourselves, our bodies, and our days, we can unlock a sense of energy and purpose that many of us didn't even know was still there. So today, let's talk about these small but powerful mindset shifts, 6 of them, to be exact. They don't require a gym membership, fancy equipment, or a strict routine. All they ask is that we start thinking a little differently. Let's begin with the first one, and it's one that surprises a lot of people. The belief that it's never too late to grow. It's easy to assume that once we reach a certain age, the big changes are behind us. We've raised our families, built our careers, lived through joy and heartache. It can feel like life has settled into a quiet rhythm. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But here's what many don't realize. Our brains, just like our bodies, are capable of learning, adapting, and growing even well into our 70s, 80s, and beyond. Think of it like a garden. Just because the summer has passed doesn't mean the soil has stopped being fertile. In fact, sometimes the richest growth happens in the fall. Slow, steady, deeply rooted. Whether it's picking up a new hobby, learning to cook a new dish, try your hand at painting, or even embracing something like meditation or journaling, the act of learning keeps our minds sharp and our hearts open. It reminds us that life is still unfolding, that our story is still being written. And when we start to believe that something shifts, we begin to wake up with curiosity again. We look forward to moments of discovery. And that energy, that quiet excitement, is one of the most powerful tools for staying young at heart. That leads us to another important shift, one that might take a little more practice. Choosing self-compassion over self-criticism. You know, we can be awfully hard on ourselves. Maybe we look back and think, I should have exercised more, or I wish I had taken better care of myself. Maybe we get frustrated when our bodies don't move the way they used to, or when we forget things that used to come easily. But here's the thing. Being kind to yourself is not the same as giving up. In fact, it's the exact opposite. When we offer ourselves grace, real, gentle, honest grace, we create the space for healing. We allow ourselves to move forward without being weighed down by guilt or regret. We say, okay, this is where I am right now. And from here, I can choose what happens next. Self-compassion doesn't mean ignoring the truth. It just means meeting that truth with love. So instead of thinking, I'm too far gone to start walking every day, try, I'm proud of myself for starting with 5 minutes. Instead of, I shouldn't have eaten that, try, I'm learning to listen to what my body really needs. These tiny shifts in language change the way we treat ourselves. And when we treat ourselves with kindness, we're more likely to take better care of ourselves too. And once we start practicing that compassion, we become better at another essential mindset shift, focusing on what we can do rather than what we can't. It's no secret that our bodies change with age. Maybe you used to run 5 miles every morning, and now a walk around the block leaves you winded. Maybe lifting heavy groceries or bending down to tie your shoes takes a little more effort. That's okay. That's normal. But what's not okay, what holds us back, is getting stuck in frustration or shame about those changes. Instead, what if we ask, what can I do today? Maybe you can't do push-ups anymore, but you can stretch in your chair while watching TV. Maybe you can't stand for long periods, but you can dance a little while brushing your teeth. Maybe your knees complain when you go upstairs, but your hands are still steady enough to write letters, paint, or knit. When we start noticing our abilities, however small, they become sources of joy, not just limitations. And when we celebrate what we can do, we begin to build confidence. We feel useful. We feel connected to our bodies again. And slowly but surely, we start to feel better. Not because we've turned back the clock, but because we've turned toward life with a sense of openness and gratitude. These three shifts, believing in growth, practicing self-kindness, and focusing on ability, are more than just mental exercises. They are keys to a longer, healthier life. Not just in terms of years, but in quality. They help us wake up with purpose, face challenges with resilience, and enjoy the present moment more fully. Let's keep this momentum going. There's more to explore, more to feel, and more to embrace. Once we begin to see aging as a time of growth, treat ourselves with more kindness, and shift our focus toward what we can do instead of what we can't, we begin to feel something else stir within us. Something powerful. And that's where our next mindset shift comes in, understanding that connection matters just as much as cholesterol. Now, I know that might sound strange at first, but think about this. When was the last time a laugh with an old friend made your whole body feel lighter? Or a heartfelt chat with a grandchild brought a kind of joy no vitamin ever could? We humans are wired for connection. As we get older, though, life often becomes quieter. Friends move away. Families get busier. And sometimes we find ourselves feeling invisible, not lonely all the time, just a little out of step with the world. But that quiet disconnection, it can wear on us, not just emotionally, but physically, too. Studies have shown again and again that meaningful social connection can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even boost the immune system. But you don't need a scientific study to tell you how good it feels when someone truly listens to you, or when you get to share a part of your story with someone who cares. So here's the shift. Instead of waiting for someone else to reach out, start believing that your presence still matters. Your stories, your memories, your voice, they still hold weight. Whether it's sending a thoughtful message, inviting a neighbor for coffee, or joining a community group or class, those little moments of connection don't just fill the day. They fill the heart. And don't underestimate the power of listening either. Sometimes, all someone needs is a warm pair of ears and a kind heart. When we offer that to others, we're not just giving, we're also receiving. Because being needed, being useful, and being present with someone, that adds life to our years in a way no pill ever could. And while we're on the subject of presence, let's talk about another beautiful shift. Perhaps one of the most healing of all. It's the practice of letting go of perfection and embracing the beauty of now. There's a quiet pressure that many of us carry. The need to have it all figured out, to have a spotless home, a perfect routine, to always feel put together. But life, especially as we age, has a way of reminding us that control is often an illusion. Health changes, plans shift, our bodies, our homes, even our daily schedules. They may not look like they used to, but what if that's okay? What if instead of chasing perfection, we found peace in imperfection? What the unmade bed, the forgotten appointment, or the slightly burnt toast weren't signs of failure, but simply signs of being human? There's something deeply freeing about releasing that pressure, about saying, today, I'm doing my best and that's enough. And when we allow ourselves to live in present, without constantly measuring it against how things used to be or how we wish they were, we find joy in small things again. The sound of birds in the morning, the comfort of a warm cup of tea, the rhythm of your own breath as you sit in stillness. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the past or giving up on the future. It simply means choosing to be here, really here, for the moments that are unfolding right now. And the more we practice that, the more our nervous system relaxes, our hearts feel lighter, and we begin to live with more peace. And that peace is powerful, especially when it carries us into one more mindset shift, one that might just surprise you. Choosing purpose over busyness. It's easy to confuse the two. When we were younger, our days were packed. Work, errands, children, responsibilities. The to-do list never ended. And now, when the schedule opens up, we might feel like something's missing. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to be busy to be purposeful. Purpose is quiet. It's meaningful. It's that small sense of intention that makes you get out of bed in the morning with something to look forward to. It might be tending to your garden, calling someone who needs encouragement, writing down a piece of your life story, feeding the birds, saying a prayer for someone else. Your purpose doesn't have to be big to be important. It just needs to be yours. And when we start thinking in terms of purpose instead of productivity, we stop measuring our worth by how much we get done. We begin to live in a way that nourishes our spirit rather than drains it. We realize that a slow morning with meaning is far better than a rush day without it. So even if you wake up and don't have anything scheduled, ask yourself, what would bring me joy today? Who could use a kind word from me? What small thing could I do that would make this day feel full? When you start living with that kind of gentle intention, each day becomes less about passing time and more about living it. These mindset shifts, nurturing connection, embracing the present, and finding purpose are not just ideas. They're tools. Tools that help you build a life that feels grounded, joyful, and alive. A life that honors where you've been and still holds excitement for what's to come. As we settle into this rhythm of living with more intention, of valuing connection and presence, something beautiful begins to take root. A quiet confidence. The kind that comes from within, not from how we look, how fast we move, or how many boxes we check on a list. This brings us to one more mindset that can transform how we age, accepting change instead of fearing it. Now, I know that word change can stir up a mix of feelings. It's not always easy. Our bodies change. Our roles shift. The world around us keeps moving at a pace that can feel overwhelming. And sometimes we wish things would just stay the same for a while, just to catch our breath. But here's something to consider. Change isn't always the enemy. In fact, many of life's richest gifts come from moments we didn't plan. That new friend we never expected. A hobby we tried on a whim. A peaceful morning walk that turned into a daily ritual. When we soften our grip on the way things used to be, we make space for new joys to enter. It helps to think of life like a garden. There are seasons of bloom and seasons of rest. Some plants don't come back, but new ones take root. And even though the landscape may look different year by year, there's always beauty if we know how to look for it. So instead of bracing against every wrinkle, every ache, or every shift in routine, what if we learn to meet those changes with curiosity, with gentleness? Ask, what's this moment trying to teach me? Or what can I grow from this? One small way to put this into practice is to stay open to trying new things, not in a pressured way, but in a playful, light-hearted way. Try a new recipe. Read a book you wouldn't normally pick up. Visit a local museum. Take a new walking path. Learn to sketch. Or just listen to music from a different decade. Little experiments like these remind us that life is still full of surprises. And so are we. And perhaps the most freeing shift of all, the one that ties all the others together, is this: we get to redefine what aging means for us. Not society. Not the commercials. Not the numbers on a calendar. There's a quiet kind of power in that, don't you think? Knowing that you don't have to follow anyone else's story of what life after 60 should look like. You get to write your own version. You can make it bold or gentle, busy or calm, full of adventure or full of quiet moments. There is no right or wrong, only what feels true to you. So if you've been carrying old beliefs like, I'm too old for that, or it's too late to start, I want to invite you to challenge them. Because here's the truth. The only expiration date on dreams is the one we place on them ourselves. Whether you want to learn something new, heal an old relationship, travel somewhere you've never been, or simply enjoy your days more deeply, it's all still possible. And even if big goals feel out of reach right now, remember this: small steps still move us forward. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just shift the way you see the journey. Instead of asking, how much time do I have left? Try asking, what can I do with the time I do have? That question changes everything. You see, aging isn't about becoming less. It's about becoming more yourself, more free, more at peace. And with each mindset shift, you strengthen that truth. You begin to live in a way that honors your years rather than hiding them. You begin to see that this chapter of life isn't a winding down. It's a refining, a deepening. And what a gift that is. So take a moment now and breathe. Right here, right now, you are alive. You have stories inside you, love around you, and possibilities ahead of you. Let that fill you. Let it remind you that this moment, this very breath, is part of the miracle of being human. You don't need to change who you are. You only need to let go of what no longer serves you. The old fears, the harsh self-talk, the outdated ideas about aging, and step into who you're becoming. Stronger, wiser, softer, bolder, more alive than ever. If this video speaks to your heart, I hope you'll share your thoughts below. Your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear that they're not alone in this journey. And if you found something valuable here, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe so we can continue growing together. There's so much more ahead for you, and I'm so glad we could share this space today. Here's to living your best, fullest, most meaningful life. At any age, you deserve nothing less.